So I just got this new module. It's the lemme here, and I don't super know how to use it yet, but I am learning. And maybe once I do know how to use it, I'll make a video about it. But in the meantime, I've made this jam with it here, which you can hear. I can kind of modulate. So that's what I've got so far. The components of it are just the drums. That's pattern 2. This is pattern 1. And then coming from the modular, you've got the bass here. And that's the bass is coming from the bissimilus here. And then the lemme is giving us this. Okay, I'm cutting in here because I did not explain the purpose of this video very well the first time around, so I'm gonna try again now. I really like Modular for playing with sounds, discovering new sounds, just kind of like figuring out what's gonna be interesting and going into a track. But once I've found those sounds, I really like to put them into here because first of all, like if I accidentally turn this off, then like some of these modules don't really save their settings, and so I just lose stuff. The other thing is like I like to have sounds that I think are cool kind of across anything that I'm making, and by sampling them into here, I kind of always have access to them. And the other thing is like I can just like move this off of my desk and I can put another instrument on here, or I can, I don't know, just have more desk space. So yeah, I am going to walk through now how I sample sounds from here into here so that I can use them, manipulate them, do whatever with them. Okay. So right now the way the Octatrack setup is on track 1. I'm just going to turn everything off for now. On track 1, that's my kick. On track 2, that's my snare. Track 3 is just kind of like a hat loop. And then track 4 is an open hat for pattern 2. And on pattern 1, track 4 doesn't do anything, but everything else is the same. Track 7 is where the modular comes in. So I've got MIDI going out of the Octatrack into the modular, and then audio coming from the modular into input A and B. And so if I look at track 7 here, you can see it is a through track, and in AB is set. I've also got some effects here and there that I'm using in scenes, but that's not really important. Okay, so I want to sample the bass into track 5 because I usually like to put my bass sounds on track 5. And so I'm going to select track 5, make it a flex track. I'm going to set the machine's whatever to recording 5. And so we'll record into that. I'm going to go into the recording settings and turn off in CD because nothing's coming from there. I'm going to turn off source 3 because I don't want to record anything internally. And I'm going to turn loop off. Yeah, and I think what I might also do is just set the length to 32 since that's how long our patterns are. But I don't think that's super necessary. Okay, so then in record mode, I'm going to make sure there's a trigger there. I'm going to make it a one-shot trigger. So it'll have to be armed. And yeah, I think that should work. So if I hit yes here, armed track, and I'm going to, oh, I turned off that trigger maybe? No, I didn't. Okay. So yes to arm, hit play. You can see we're recording here. So we recorded for 32 steps. If I go to the audio editor here, there's a delay there, huh? Let's hit yes to arm and hit play. Okay, so that recorded. If I go to the audio editor, okay, so we can hear that my recording is there. That's great. I am going to save it. And I'm just going to call it bass-1. Save. Cool. So we have our first sample there. I think another thing that could be cool is to kind of move that bass a little bit. So I'm going to go grab a patch cable real quick. Use a long cable here. I'm going to patch the out from the lapsus, which just gives me, I can just send voltage over that, into the, let's do the morph of the Bassimilus. And I'm going to turn it down a little bit here. So yeah, okay. So then I've already saved this sample, so I just want to do a new one. And so I think during this, so I'm just going to move it up gradually. And I think I actually want to make this a little bit longer. So I am going to go to the recording settings, and I'm just going to turn this up to 64. Cool. And I'm going to go into here, and I'm just going to say, because I don't want it to loop around. When the pattern loops around, I don't want it to like re-record. So oh, there's no trig conditions for these, huh? Okay, well, I'll just turn it off then. Okay, cool. So we're going to arm, and then this is the one I'm going to scoot up. So yes, we're armed. That was too fast. Okay, try it again. Turning this off. Okay, so let's hear how that sounds. So I'm going to go to here and preview. That's not what we wanted. Record. Okay, here we go. Funk. Cool. So that's like kind of like a rising vibe to it. So I'm going to go into File, and I'm going to save sample copy, and we'll call this just like bass. Just call it bass 2. Cool. So now I've got 2 samples in there. And now if we go to our second pattern, so maybe if we just leave this one at the high, at the louder setting. So like instead of, maybe we, could be too much. Yeah, you know what? I think that we want to keep that low because the Laquelic's gonna be doing a lot more stuff. So let's just move on and sample the other thing. So we're happy with our bass. I'm just going to change you back to static and select our sound that we just recorded. So bass 1 is here. So now if we go on the first trig, if I hit play here, I'm going to turn down the bass up here actually. I'm going to remove that trig. So no bass here, and then, so that's the bass we just recorded and sampled. Cool. All right, so let's sample our Laquelic now. So I'm going to turn the volume on that back up. If I turn everything else off and just play what's coming in on the through track from the modular, so we can hear that, that's great. Turn these back on. Okay, and so I'm going to sample the Laquelic onto track 6. So I've got track 6 selected. I'm going to change you to a flex track. I'm going to select recording slot 6, just because it's the 6th track and it's easier to keep track of. Oh God. Okay, so again, I'm going to go to the recording settings. I'm going to turn off CD. I'm going to turn off source 3. I'm going to set the max to the recording length to 64 and turn loop off, and then put a trig there. I'm just going to hit play and it's going to record. Okay, so now we have recorded. Okay, so I'm going to save that as a copy. Oops. Just call that lock 1. Cool. And then I'm going to do a different one where it kind of transitions up. So, oops. Put our recording trigger back, and I'm just going to scoot this up as it's recording. So let's hear how that sounds. Go back to cool. So I'm going to save that as lock 2. Cool. And then I want to do another one where we bring up this other sound. Yeah, I'm just going to put it all the way up and just record it like this. So in our recording settings, add that recording trigger back. Okay, now we've got 3. So I'm going to go to the audio editor again. I'm going to make sure we got the right thing. We did. So file, save, sample copy, and call this, oops, block 3. All right, great. And so now I can just put this back to static, and I can select, let's just select the first one, lock 1. I should organize this better. Okay, so now here, oh yeah, I'm gonna turn off just everything from the modular. I can actually just disable the through track there. And now we should just hear that jam we had in the beginning, but it's just playing off samples here. Cool. So now we are kind of able to, I'm gonna actually in pattern 1 just add these as well. Cool. So then if we wanted to now like mess with these things, we can, let's just say like copy this pattern here. I'll go to pattern 3, nothing on it. Paste pattern 1 to pattern 3. So we're on pattern 3, but we recognize this. And now maybe we can play around with what we just sampled. So like, what if we just get real messy? Yeah, that's not great. But we could maybe, I don't know, what's it sound like backwards? Does it sound like backwards and pitched up? Not very pleasant. Okay. What's it sound like at half speed? Cool. Okay, so yeah, I basically just have these things now. I can unplug everything on here and it doesn't matter because I've already saved what I wanted. This is probably super basic to most Octatrack people, or at least a lot of people who use this a lot, but as somebody who for the first 2 years I owned this was basically just used it for one-shot trigs, getting into the sampling stuff's been dope. So hopefully this was helpful, and see you next time.